Hi guys, it's Dr. Pam and I'm here with this week's burning question. So many of you know that we've been doing our virtual coffee talk on Fridays, and last week's topic was anti-aging. But in reality, anti-aging is a two-pronged event because really it's a framework that we use on every single patient. So I've been sort of sharing my super secret sauce with everybody so you would have the tools that I regularly use in practice. And it really starts off with the very first prong is that you have to assess the baby's, well, actually where they are right now and try to assess what their level of aging and what their rate of aging is at this juncture. And then the second part of it is, okay, now you know where you are. What do you need to do to get where you want to go? Because there's many different paths of aging. You kind of have that slow meandering path of aging. That's what we call healthy aging. Or you can have that accelerated Autobahn path of aging, and that's like the highest source of aging. So if you can determine where you are, then you can determine where you need to go, right? So the burning question actually came in because I have people who signed up for this series, and one of my people did not come in, one of my attendees did not come in, and she said, I got the handout, because I always send out a handout. I got the handout and it's great, but I missed the presentation part on external indicators. Can you tell me how to use these external indicators? And while I have a handout and a guide for that too, I thought I'd take today to kind of show you on a slide deck what I'm talking about. So let's real quickly recap what the 5 touchstones to aging. What 5 things do we look at in dogs that's different than humans when we're really trying to figure out the rate of aging? That first thing is diet, because diet is like fuel in a car. If you buy premium fuel, you're going to get premium function. If you buy crappy fuel, you're going to get crappy function. The second thing that we talked about, a second touchstone, was our external indicator. Where is that pet now? And if you look at the external indicators, again, I have a guide for that, but it's like the fuel gauge. It lets you know how much fuel you have, usable fuel for the body. Because guess what? If you don't have enough fuel, you can't power all of the different functions of the body. So this is a big one. The third thing that we talked about is movement, and it's like the alignment of the car. If you have a good alignment, it's a smooth ride. If you have an inappropriate alignment, you're going to have a bumpy ride. And in dogs, it's kind of a gauge of their level of inflammation. So if they are jumping up and down off of things that they normally have or they did last year, and they're moving around, they're playing ball, and they've got smooth movement, no hitches in their giddy up, then you've got a great alignment, and that means that you have a lower inflammatory burden. Contrast that to the bumpy ride, which means you have a higher inflammatory burden, okay? So the fourth thing that we talk about is digestive stability, because I'm going to tell you the digestion is kind of like the engine of the car. Its job is to extract the fuel and power many different portions of the entire system. And if you can't extract the nutrients, doesn't matter if you have premium fuel, you can't get the nutrients that you need to drive the function of the car. If you don't have a good extraction device and a good engine, you are totally not going to feed the rest of the body, okay? And then the final thing, the final touchstone is disease, or actually presence of disease. Because once you have a disease, what do you always hear me say? If you have inflammation and you have nutrient deficiency, that is the foundation of all disease. Fix the nutrient deficiency, fix the inflammation, and lower that burden, and you will see health and years tacked on to your dog's life. I use these systems in every single dog that comes in to see me because it applies from 8 weeks to 18 plus years. If you know where your pet is, and if they're on the accelerated Autobahn path of aging, make some changes and put them back into the healthy aging. What does that mean for you? More time. More time for puppy dog tail wags, more time for play, more time for laugh, and true unconditional love. I bet that many of you would pay millions for that. Okay, so let's talk about the external indicators, which was touchstone 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually share my screen. so you can actually see what I'm talking about. And we're just going to jump right into it, okay? Now let me do this. There we go. Okay. So when I'm looking at a dog, what I tend to do is I'm looking, when a client comes into my room, I look at the dog in total, and I'm assessing all of these external indicators within the first 5 minutes. I'm talking to the owners and I'm looking at this as well. The first thing that I do is I look at the coat. Is it glossy? Are there highlights and lowlights? Is it glossy with highlights and lowlights from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail? Does it look like a beautiful coat everywhere, even the underside? Okay? Is it something that whenever you look at the different colors, the colors really pop? So look at this Burmese right here, Mountain Dog. Look at how the white pops next to the black. There's no blending here. We have white to black. The brown really pops. Look at these feet. Look at that. White, line of demarcation, brown, line of demarcation, black. And then the mane of this dog is just gorgeous. Nice and white, and catch it at the tip of the tail. White, black, beautiful, shiny, everywhere. That is a beautiful coat, okay? Now contrast that with the next one. And I love this dog, he's so stinking cute, but look at him. If you look really closely at his coat, look around the ears. It's kind of dull. His coat is dull. The ears are not even black and shiny. They're a little on the wiry side. Do you see the wiriness of the hair? And they are actually kind of like almost that red-brown kind of color. When you have a deficient coat of a black dog, it turns kind of a red-brown, okay? It's a dry coat. And as I said, the wiriness, when you have a smooth-coated dog that has a wiry texture to it, that's unhealthy hair. Contrast that with a wiry dog that has a smooth coat, because wiry dogs will lose their wire. And so that's another sign of deficiency. Excess shedding, really big sign of deficiency. The body can't hold the hair in. It doesn't have the nutrients to keep it nice and supple and holding into the follicles, the hair follicles. And then look at this guy right here. Down his forehead, you see the blending of that hair. You don't see the white contrasted to the black. It's blending together. And look on the sides of his face. The black is blending with the brown over on this side. Same thing here. And I wish you could see his mane. You can see a little bit of it down here. But his mane is actually cream. It's not white, bright white. It's cream. And that cream indicates that we're deficient. And actually the yellow kind of nature to it means that we have liver congestion. Okay. So moving on to the next one, we're going to look at the nose. Now, I want to back up one thing. Look at his nose. You see that? Look at his nose. Now we're going to go in, since you've seen a couple, and go in to the perfect nose. So this is a golden. The nose is specific colors for specific breeds. So goldens and yellow labs are always black. So are their liners and their eyeliners and their lip liners. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But look at this nose. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It is, all the pigment is encased within the nose. It has a cobblestone appearance, but you can only tell that when you're super close because it's shiny and glossy. It's not like a matte photograph. It's shiny and glossy. And do you see how the pigment here resides within the nose and is not racing up the bridge of the nose? This is a very, very healthy nose. Deep pigment and shine. Now, if you have a chocolate lab, it's going to be chocolate brown. If you have a Weimaraner, get this, most of you don't realize this, Weimaraners' noses should be a deep gray. Very deep gray and glossy. But what you're seeing now are pink noses, and that's deficiency. We're going to get into that. But people are seeing it so often that they think that's the normal. It's not. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Now, this isn't particularly in focus because it's focused more up on the bridge of the nose, but I want you to look at this nose. This is a yellow lab. This nose should be black, but it's not only kind of a tannish, a little bit pink and tan. It is actually, if you look right across the bridge, it's dry. And then the pigment is going up the bridge of the nose. It's not in the nose, it's on the bridge of the nose. So when you move from a glossy finish to a matte finish, that's a sign. When you notice that the center of a nose is turning pink, like that happens so much in Goldens and Labs, it's turning pink, and then it starts in the center and it moves outward. So the last place you lose pigment is actually out on the periphery. Now, I'm going to tell you, when you restore the nutrients and you restore the things and decrease the inflammation, that comes back in, but it comes from the outside working in. So it leaves inside working out, comes back outside working in. And it's the same with a coat too. It has a direction that it goes as well. When it loses pigment, it starts from the tail, very back tail, moving forward. But when you gain pigment, it moves from the head back to the back of the body and then wraps around. So you can literally follow your progress. It's pretty cool. And then what you'll notice in these dogs is you could be stepping 5 feet away and you could actually see the cobblestone appearance in the nose. That is a sign of deficiency. Okay. So right here, we're talking liners. Now, this is also a lab mix, right? Her nose and liners are going to be the same color. And if you look, the black nose, we've got Cleopatra eyes here. I mean, ladies, this is what we pay for, right? But look at that liner on the eyes and look at that lip liner, just beautiful, gorgeous. This is a solid, beautiful liner on a dog, okay? Now let's contrast that with and again, here's the healthy liners up here. But when you see signs of deficiency, you'll notice, look at her. She's got a nose that's deficient. You already know that. And it's already moved out to the periphery. And look, the pigment's going up the nose. So you can already see that. When you match the eyes, it matches the nose, which the nose isn't healthy. So the eyeliner isn't healthy. And then look at the lips. It's that brown black, more brown than black. Okay. And you can see these pigments start to decrease. And when they're black, they're like, again, Cleopatra, boom, you can tell a difference, right? When you start seeing also in liners spotting, that is another evidence of deficiency. Now, when you have them come in, they just start getting darker. They don't have a directional cue like the nose and the coat does, but they just start getting darker, and you can actually see this. And by the way, when you correct the two areas, decrease inflammation and increase nutrient density, guess what? You will see the liners come back in black, the lips, as well as the nose coming from the outside to the end, okay? The next one is the pads. Now, before you say it, because I know you're probably going to, Dr. Pam, my dog walks on asphalt or pavement, so her pads are rough. Guys, the pads come from the inside. Where they are, the texture, the gloss, all of that comes from the inside. I've had a 13-year-old dog, fly ball, agility, you name it, he did it. His pads looked like this when he was 13. Look at that. They're lush. They have softness. They are all black. This is a golden puppy, all black right here, okay? And even if you have a dog that has multiple colors, look down at the pads down here. Let's say you have a dog with just pink pads. The pink should be light, beautiful, rosy pink. It should not be so light that you can't tell it's pink. And look, when you have multiple colors, the line of demarcation on these pads, are they not beautiful? Look at that, just gorgeous and soft. And you could take these pads and those pads and scrape them down the side, or just run them down the side of your face, and it will not scrape your face. It is like a baby's butt. They're super, super soft. Don't you love puppy pads? That's how pads are meant to be forever, okay? When your dog becomes deficient, you lose pigment, you lose texture. The texture becomes more rough and sometimes even cracked. And then the fur the pad lining or the pad itself becomes furry. It looks like it has little fur on it and it sticks up. That's like a callus formation on your hand, okay? And if you look at this one over here down to the right, if you look at that, this is a golden as well. Same breed between the above one and the below one. This one should be black. Look, we are not even close to black. We're brown, we're dry. You see the texture of the pad. There's really very little pigment in there. And then the white isn't really white. It's kind of a yellow white. And again, yellow is a big indicator of liver congestion. But you can see the big difference. Look at that. Look at that. They should be the same, and they're not. Again, when you correct the nutrient deficiency and decrease the inflammation, this comes back in. And it starts where? On the periphery and works back into the center. Awesome. Okay? All right. Here's the last thing that we evaluate on the external indicators. The base of the coat. The base makes your case. Now, when you look at this dog, or you even look at the Burmese mountain dog on the first page that we showed, glossy, beautiful coat. But the real truth is when you take a step closer to the dog and you part the hair and look at the base of the hair where it attaches with the skin. Now, in a healthy dog, you should have pigment all the way down to the skin, and it should be a beautiful glossy all the way down. When they become deficient, it looks like down around where this area is, that there's almost like sometimes it looks dusty, sometimes you just see the loss of pigment, and you notice that you'll see some of the pigment out here in the hair here, but here at the base is not very pretty. And look at this. This is a border collie. The hair should be really smooth and flat and just silky. And look, it's kind of wiry, isn't it? Now here's another thing. Check out this one. This one's a border collie too. In fact, these are the same dog. Before over here, after over here. Before, after. Yes, you can make a difference. You can change the texture of the hair. You can watch it grow back in. Because in hair analysis, in people and in dogs, they take the clippings from the skin, and that gives you the average of the last 90 days of their mineral profile. So it's telling you where the nutrition was over the last 90 days. Now again, you could put premium fuel, but if your engine isn't working, if you can't access the premium fuel and get it to all parts of the body, you're not going to have a beautiful coat. So just to give you an idea, all right? So this week, this Friday, what we're going over is going to be what I call the 5 pillars. It's the how. How do you fix it? Once you know where you are and you know what path you're on from an aging standpoint, how do you make the jump? And there's 5 pillars to that. So meet me on Friday and I'll tell you all about it. If you haven't registered, I'll put the link in the comments. Register, you'll get the last week's handout, and we'll also put the handout of this particular external indicator guide in the chat section as well. So it's not too late. You should join. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.